How's everybody doing? This is gssixgun Glenn Mercurio from Gemstar Custom Razors. I'm doing a video for a friend of mine up in Canada, Ernie. He sent me this Kamisori. And he asked me if I could do a video about how I was going to hone his actual razor. I haven't done a Kamisori video in quite a few years. But first, let's start with just general razors, okay? First off, I think on this one I'm going to start with the Kyocera 1K or the Kyocera 5K. So I'm going to dump both of those in the well and give them a little bit of a soak before I start. Oh, by the way, never soak your Kyocera. It says right off the bat. Never soak them. That's why I'm soaking them. Anyway, basically, with any razor, not just the Kamisori, you want to take a look and see what you've got going on. And I'll start with a loop and kind of take a look and see what I have for an edge. Okay, on this razor, on the back side, the side with the hump, all right? This is the stamp side, and this is the unstamped side. This is the side that actually has the hump. I really tend to try not to use Japanese terms. After 40 plus years of doing martial arts, the worst thing in the world is trying to use dojo Japanese and sounding like an idiot. Stamp side, unstamped side. So if we're looking at the unstamped side, I'm looking at and keep in mind these are called asymmetrical bevels, all right? Both sides are actually a hollow grind. Okay, one side is not flat. I know a lot of people always say the flat side, the stamp side is the flat side. It's actually not flat. It's actually a hollow grind, and there's actually a small hollow grind from the hump down to the thing. So you got two unequal hollow grinds, asymmetrical bevel. Okay, looking at the unstamped side on this razor, this very front part is a little bit off. I can actually see two bevels. As you go towards the back, it becomes one bevel. And you can also see the wear on the hump itself. The wear is slightly uneven. Hi, baby girl. That's my little baby girl. She's going to help me hone. Not sure where the baby boy is. Usually they're both down here when I have the fire going. Okay, on the stamp side, I'm going to look at that. Okay. And from one half of the blade forward, the bevel kind of just disappears. There's no real bevel on there. All right, so that tells me I need bevel work on the pointed from the point about 1/4 of the way down, and on the unstamped or on the stamped side, I have about half a bevel to make. All right. Also on Kamisori, you know, you can tape them, and I'm going to show you how you tape them. It's a little bit different than taping a regular Western style razor. You don't want to put it in the center. You want to put it all the way over so that it is very, very small on the stamp side and very, very large on the unstamped side. And that's where you're going to start with. Okay? And we're going to trim that up. And I always tape razors because these are not my razors. Unless somebody specifically asks me to not tape, I always put one layer of tape on. Some razors that need restoration and stuff, you need to put more than one layer. Make sure that the tape covers that little hump on the unstamped side, because otherwise you're not doing anything. That's why you need to make it uneven. It is an asymmetrical bevel, which means you're going to have uneven taping. Okay, it should just cover the very, very top on the stamp side. Okay, so that's the way you tape a Kamisori if you're going to tape. If you're not going to tape, don't tape. I always tell people, especially when they're first starting out, tape. All right, you can always change to no tape later. What we're going to start with is the Kyocera 1K, because we need to establish a bevel. And it's been soaking for the time that we've been talking. Leaving the 5K in, taking a very, very, very well-worn DMT 325. I'm going to do about 5 figure-8s, cut the edges off, and I'm going to leave that slurry on there. Okay, a little bit more water. Again, you can believe in using slurry, you cannot believe in slurry. Whatever you want to do, Ernie, it's up to you. All right, so on this side, remember it's the very tip here that needs to be brought in. So we're going to work on that first. And I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure to the point because I want to push that into line. And if you notice, I'm going back and forth, but I'm also doing it at an angle and a slight curve. I'm pushing with this thumb down here on the edge, and I'm pushing right here on the edge. Okay, I'm guiding with these two fingers on the back of the spine. I'm not pushing down on the spine, I'm pushing down on the edge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to even up that bevel first. Okay. And it really shouldn't take that much. I say that as I'm looking here going, that didn't do anything. But I'm going to pull that bevel into line before I actually start honing. To just start honing right now is not going to really do too much. So that bevel needs to be pulled into line first. Once the bevel's pulled into line, then we can really start honing the razor. Okay, that's pretty close. It's just a tiny bit off towards the point. So I'm really going to concentrate, just touch the pressure towards the point of the razor on that side. Using Japanese strokes, back and forth, slight angle, slight curving motion. Okay, now I'm going to show you something. See the way the tape messed up? Because I was concentrating so much pressure on it, I pulled the tape off. One of the problems with taping the Kamisori is just the fact that that happens quite a bit, especially at your lower grit when you're establishing your bevels and stuff. So, retape. Again, off center, most of the tape going to the unstamped side, just a slight bit going to the stamped side. She's talking over there. Always be careful when you're putting tape on razors. It's the worst cut I ever got was putting tape on razors. Okay, let's take a look and see where I'm at now. Okay, right towards, most of the bevel is perfectly set now. Right towards that point, still about 1/8 of an inch towards the point is not set. So I'm going to give it a little bit more. Again, now if you notice, I'm sliding my thumb up towards the point of the razor so I can get just a little bit more concentration on that area that's giving it a hard time. Now, as I feel that I'm getting there, I start to spread that out more and even up the bevel. Okay, so I'll apply pressure where the problem spot is, and then I'll apply equal pressure to even it up, and I get lighter and lighter as I go. Well, keep in mind when you're establishing a bevel, when you're it's more of restoration than it is really toning. Alright, there we go. Now I can see all the way across that the bevel is set. If you're not sure what you're looking at, if you can't see it, just use a magic marker, color the edge, and then do like very light strokes like that, and then make sure that the magic marker comes all the way to the edge. If there's any magic marker left at the edge, then you know you're not there. Once you get used to doing that, you can look at the actual striations on the edge and tell whether or not you're there or not. But if you're not sure, use a magic marker. Okay. Now notice I'm not doing any sharp tests or anything like that right now. All I'm doing is making sure that I have a nice, even bevel all the way across. Tiny bit here at the heel is missing a little bit, so now I'm going to concentrate on the heel. And I mean, it's a very tiny bit. We're talking about maybe 1 millimeter. Then even it up and get real light. About 7. I'm going to check it again before I move on. Even, nice, even. Alright. Okay, so the unstamped side is now even and set. Now we're going to move over to the stamp side. And we'll take a look and see what we have here. Towards the heel, looks good, looks good, looks good. Halfway up the blade, the bevel just disappears. Okay, so we have a non-fully set bevel. Again, we're going to start, do a little bit of figure 8, get a little bit of slurry on there. The slurry not only helps with the cutting, it also creates a nice even finish on the edge when you're doing that. Again, it's towards the front, so if you notice, I'm putting my thumbs back behind the spine, I'm putting my fingertips towards the edge, and I'm moving this finger that's normally down here by the heel, I'm going to move it to about halfway up the edge. So I'm concentrating the pressure, and keep in mind that when I say pressure, this is pretty light pressure really. Concentrating the pressure towards the point, because that's where the problem comes in. With Kamisori steel and the Choceras, they cut pretty fast, so you want to check quite often to see where you're at. Unlike a Western razor, it will cut into that steel really, really quick, so you need to be careful with it. In fact, that just about did it. There's just a very, very tiny bit up front here that's missing. So I'm going to concentrate on that, and then I'm going to even it out a little bit. Notice I'm doing back and forth strokes all the way through. Again, we're not to the honing process yet. We're still on the establishing the actual bevel process. Oh, it's looking good now. Okay, looks good on that side. Let's try the side here. And on the stamp side, everything but the very, 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 we're talking less than 1 millimeter of the point is in line. So I'm going to just concentrate on that little point. It looks like the grind is slightly off on there, Ernie. So I'm going to pull that in. Okay, the tape is gone. Pull the tape off again. Oh, here's a neat little trick. If you have tape residue left on, just take the sticky part of the tape and it'll come right off. Okay. You wrap it around your finger if you're smart enough to do it, which I wasn't. Okay, once again we're going to set the tape. Very, very careful about how I rub the tape on. I want it to be, if you're going to use tape, be exact about it. Okay. If you're not going to use tape, don't use tape. Alright, we're going to push that point in just a touch more. Even. Concentrate. Even. Concentrate it. Even it out. Okay. Make sure a nice even edge all the way across. Alright. Now the bevel's established. I established the bevel with the 1K. Okay, I have a nice even bevel on the stamp side. I have a nice even bevel on the unstamped side. Okay? Because I use pressure, I'm going to kill the edge. Okay. Another way to do that is do a thumbnail test. I really damaged this thumbnail with a hammer when I was building the shop. So I'm not doing thumbnail tests on that thumb right now. You can do a nail test. That will also kill the edge, but just a couple of really light strokes on the corner of the 1K will do it also. Okay. What I want to do is I want to make sure I'm nice and even, and I have a, you know, it's an established bevel, but it's not a sharp bevel. In other words, I don't think this will pop hair. No. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to establish, now we're going to hone basically. Okay? Now we're going to actually hone the razor. We're done establishing the bevel or the pre-bevel, whatever you want to call it. In other words, I'm done with restoration. I have a nice even bevel there. Now I just need to create a actual sharp bevel. Okay. With the stamp side facing up, I'm going to do 5, 6, 7. And then on the back side, I'm going to go 1. Okay, 1 forward, 1 back. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One forward, one back. Always forward first, back. Okay. A lot of people, you can also, if you watch my first Kamisori videos, just do a backstroke like this. I'm thinking I'm getting a smoother edge by doing the forward and back instead of just the back. I don't know. Try it both ways. See what you guys think. But that's what I think now. Okay. With just that little bit, now all of a sudden we're cutting arm hair. Okay, it's actually cutting arm hair already. When I killed the edge, you're just barely killing the edge. You're not really doing anything huge on it. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, really light. One back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. One back. Okay, so basically a 7-to-1 ratio on the Chosera 1K. You can also use the Nagura progression to do the exact same thing I'm doing. I've done, a lot of times I'll use a caudicle to do that bevel sharpening. But since I had to set the bevel, I have the Choseras out, so I'll continue with the Choseras. These are all, it's just a progression, guys. It doesn't really make a difference which way you do it. Now I'm getting really, really light. Also, if you can see that I'm going down, across, and a slight curve, okay? It's not just straight up and down. It's down with the slight heel forward, it's down, across, and a slight curve, okay? A little bit of a windshield washer motion, I guess is what some people call that. Same thing with this one. There's a slight curve to it. It's going to create a nice even edge is what it's going to create. Alright, let's check. Okay, we have the bevel is totally set from front to back. Okay, and I also check it. You want to do as many bevel checks as you can. In other words, whatever works for you. Okay, so I did 3 checks there. I did an arm hair test, I did a thumb pad test, and I did I did a 4-nail test because I said I ripped off that thumbnail, so I'm not going to try it. And I'm getting positive results on all the way across. Always, every time you test something, you do a few more laps. Okay. Really, really light now. Okay. Now before I move on, I want to check under the loop and make sure that we have no rough spots, no misses. Especially as this is going back to Ernie up in Canada. Shipping alone is more expensive than the honing is, I swear. They just kill you on shipping anymore. You really want to be careful about it. Okay. I have a dead even, dead smooth, the bevel, you can't really see it, I'm sure. Bevel is perfect under every test that you're checking. The bevel's perfect. Alright. That one goes away. This one comes out. Chosera 5K, Chosera 10K goes in the water. Never soak those. A few figure 8s. Lightly cut the corners. I don't actually camp for the corners. I just cut them just slightly. Okay. Now I'm moving up, so the ratio, I'm going to do a variable ratio on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One forward, one back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One forward, one back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One forward, one back. And it's approximate. Okay, you really want to feel for the edge too. I'm getting a good feeling out of this already, so I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm going to check it. Now the pressure, of course, went really, really, really light. And it's going to just get lighter as I go on. Beautiful striations on it. Nice, smooth, even bevel. Okay, I'm going to dilute a little bit, get that slurry off there. Really light pressure here. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the water as it's coming back and forth. I'm watching the wave, I'm riding the wave, making sure that the water stays either in front of the edge or up on top of the edge. I'm liking the feel of it. I'm liking the look of it. Again, I'm diluting. Again, I'm diluting. You can use slurry, you can use tape. This is all just personal preference. I like the feel of it, and I like the look that I get when I'm using a little bit of slurry, even on the synthetics. Gives it a really nice feel to the stones, and also the striations seem to be a lot more shallow when you actually use slurry. Seems to really even the edge up. Seems to work really well for me. I'm diluting out again, and I never go to clear water on these. Just kind of seeing how the water wave is riding. Okay. Alright. Now, no thumbnail tests anymore. You can do the thumb pad test, which now it should get really grippy. And also your arm hair test should just be popping arm hairs barely by touching it. Notice how I move. I'm checking the front part of the edge, and I'm checking the middle part of the edge, and I'm checking the heel part of the edge. So I kind of check the entire edge, make sure that I'm grabbing hair all the way across. Okay? Tested. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really light pressure there. Okay. Now we're going to move on. Okay, 5K goes away, and the 10K comes out. A little bit of swarf on there that was dried in, so it took a little bit longer to get that out. Clean that off a little bit better. Again, about 5 figure-8s. Corners off. Leave the slurry on top. It's really light slurry. Okay, on the 10K, I'm going to do the same thing. Remember, variable ratio, so fingers to the back of the spine, thumbs on top, so you're putting pressure to the edge. Alright, let's check that. That didn't feel quite as good as I was hoping it would, so maybe I missed something on the 5K. Doesn't look like it. Let's try it again. You can see that 10K still cuts pretty good. Really nice. The striations, of course, are going down, down, down because going from 1, 5, 10. Really good. I'm also going to change tape right now. We're going to get really, really light and go to finishing on the Nakayama. Again, if you're going to use tape, change it often. As soon as anything feels funny, just change it. You're using pennies worth of tape. You're not saving any money by using old tape. I always use 3M Scotch 700 is what I use. Works really well for me. The 88's a little bit thicker. It's up to you. I always use the 3M. It seems to have really good wear resistance on it. Okay. Always the higher ratio is the stamp is up. So I'm honing on the hump side. 1, 2, 3. Stamp side down. 1, 2, 3. Stamp side down. Really super light here. Okie dokie. Now it's just, the hairs are just popping right off there. Okay, again, we're going to dilute a little bit, and we're just going to do a couple more super light finishing. Double check everything, make sure nothing's missing before we move on to the finisher. Got a beautiful, nice, even scratch pattern on it. Striations are super shallow, and both bevels are dead even, okay, which is what you want, nice even bevels if possible. Alright, 10K goes away. And I'm going to actually finish on Japanese Nakayama. I don't know whether you noticed, but I build these little bridges. I got this stone with the bridge on it, so now I just build these little bridges. They're cedar, totally sealed and finished. Really easy to do them. I also use the, Steel X for a lot of my natural stones. The Steel X holders, these work really good for naturals. But I think eventually I'll probably put all my stones on those little bridge holders. They work so well. Okay, what am I going to do with this? Knock it off and break it. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, Nakayama. I'm going to do this a little different. Probably something you haven't seen before. Well-worn 325. And I'm going to do the 5 figure eights, about 5 figure eights. Cut the corners, and I'm going to leave that slurry on there. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take an actual slurry stone, and I'm trying to remember how this is pronounced and how it's spelled. It's a really, really soft, really soft Nagura, and it's AKU, and it's either IPNA or IPSA. It's like Akupina, Akupisa. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I hate doing dojo Japanese. But anyway, so I'm going to take the slurry that I did with the 325 and move it down here. And then I'm going to add to that slurry from this Nagura. You can see the coloring coming up now. And I'm not sure if you can see it in there. But anyway, I changed it from a slightly grayish color. This is actually a Nakayama Midori, so it's got the green tint. Now it's changing to a kind of a pinkish tint from the Nagura that I'm using. Really super soft Nagura. It's really good for finishing. Anyway, if you get a chance to try one of them, give it a try. Again, you can use the entire progression, Nagura progression. This is, I really like this finishing technique. Seems to work really well for me. Okay, what I'm going to do is I want to use the slurry, and I'm going to do three and ones. Pressure super light. Same stroke all the time. So you see that slight curve to it? Same thing here. Slight curve, slight heel forward. See that motion. Okay, what we're going to do is going to check it. Okay. On the unstamped side, I have almost a perfect hazy bevel on probably 75% of the blade. 25% of the blade is still showing a slight amount of striation versus the hazed bevel. On the stamped side, half of it is hazed, half of it is still showing striation. So I have a little bit more work to do. Okay. Stamp side is just about perfect. Slight bit up here still needs a little bit of work. Unstamped side has about 2 millimeters at the point, needs a little bit of work. There's hardly any pressure going on this, by the way. Really nice hazy finish all the way along here. Okay, we are there now. All right. Okay. I'm working by feel right now. I'm searching for the really nice hazy bevel finish, but I'm also working by feel. I'm feeling for rough spots as I draw and push the razor. The finish is already there. You notice I keep flipping the stone around so I get a nice even work of the slurry. You want the slurry to work. Now what I'm going to do is do a few feather light finishing strokes to give it the smoothest feel I can get on the face. Notice I'm not diluting anymore. I'm kind of letting the stone go to dry. Damp is the correct word. This part is all about feel on the face. I'm trying for a very smooth feel on the face. The pressure is, it's barely any pressure there at all. A lot of people like to call this lighter than the weight of the razor. What I'm trying not to do is to lift up any of the dried slurry. I'm trying to ride on top of the dried slurry, which will create right along the edge an actual, so we've got a really nice hazy finish on it. What I'm after now is to bring the very fin of the edge, in other words the very apex of the edge itself, to a polished part again. So it looks like a mirror polish at the very edge. And the only way to do that is to do the dried slurry and go very light on it. Give me a haze finish with a near perfect edge. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not. Anyway, the slurry is absolutely dry on top of the stone. It's all about shaving comfort now. But these Kamisori can get really sharp. My personal opinion is they're sharper than a Western razor. So you really want to be careful about how smooth they are, how smooth they feel in the face. Alrighty. I'm going to call that one done. I just leave the dried slurry right on that stone. We'll let Ernie tell you how well it shaves after he gets it back. But I'm going to call it done. Just needs to be stropped in, and then I'm going to do a test shave on it. Anyway, once again, gssixgun from Gemstar Custom Razors. A little bit different variation on how to hone actually to get technical, a wah Kamisori with the asymmetrical grind on it. Remember, stamped side, unstamped side is the one with the hump. Stamped side, unstamped side. Okay? You can call them ura and emote also, but I have this real dislike of Westerners trying to speak Japanese. We sound like idiots. We really do. So I don't do that, Ernie. I really think you're going to like this one. gssixgun from Gemstar Custom Razors. Talk to y'all later. Bye.